What is the legacy of the writers?
A lot of things. I mean, I think education is number one. He took on, his allies. He took on his allies to say it matters for our kids, and they developed this. And even though he wasn't as successful as he wanted to be, his ultimate goal, of course, was to take over the district and have it under his purview. But no future election for mayor of Los Angeles will we ever not talk about education and the role that the mayor has to play. I think his two other things that he has been particularly successful at has been transportation and getting dollars for transportation. And we know that many of the immigrant population, Latino populations, depend upon public transportation. And those dollars that we're getting to be able to have not only continued bus service, but also having subways and rail lines and all of that is really important for our region. And I think as well having, public safety be at one of its lowest levels, and having the number of officers, again, understanding that sometimes we got to do a little bit better training on those and their responsiveness, but generally those are three things that I think are keys to his legacy as well.
What you're going to do different?
Well, I think, continue on some of those. I mean, transportation is a key. Education, I mentioned, is very important. And also, I do believe that the number of officers that we have is a direct correlation to that. I think what I will focus on a little bit differently is running the city, managing the city. We have streets,
the money, that part.
and the streets, and all the kinds of things that we are seeing people are frustrated with, the quality of life that we have, and that our parks and our libraries, and having a very big investment on our infrastructure, because that's what people talk to me every day about when I see them, whether I'm in South LA or East LA. My street, hasn't been repaved. The park is dirty, and it doesn't have the kind of services that I think are necessary. All of those things are critical, and so I think, for me, I'm going to focus more on, as I say, not just wanting to be the mayor, but do the job of mayor. The job of mayor isn't sexy or slick. The job of mayor is just rolling up your sleeves and being part of the fabric every day of how we're doing this. Amazing woman. I tell a story about how she gives me strength. So she was from a small town in Harrisburg, Illinois, which is a coal mining town in southern Illinois, about 9,000 people. And in the 1980s, early 90s, she bought these two homes in her old hometown. And I was like, Mom, how are you doing that? They were big homes, 12 bedrooms between, I think 12 or 13 between the two of them. She said, I'm going to turn it into a bed and breakfast. And I said, well, Mom, who's going to come to a coal mining town and stay at a bed and breakfast? Well, we'll have weddings and receptions, and we're the closest thing to the federal prison, and people have to stay somewhere to go visit their relatives. I was like, okay, Mom, if you think so. And she was a very sophisticated entrepreneur. So a month before she died, and she died very suddenly, so I think she had a little premonition, she started telling me all these stories. And she said, do you know why I bought those homes? I said, no, I don't know, Mom, why you bought those homes. She said, well, when she was 9 or 10, she and her sister went uptown to these beautiful homes because she was the daughter of a coal miner, that they were from the wrong side of the tracks. She knocked on the door and said, trick or treat on Halloween, and they slammed the door in her face, and they said, we don't give to your kind. And she said, at that age, I vowed one day I would own them, and I would show them that I made something of myself. And when I think about that, I'm sitting here, even having this conversation about being the next mayor of Los Angeles and making history, I think about my mom and what she fought for to make sure I had a good life, and that she had a lot of struggles, but she got there, and she showed that family that she was going to make something of herself. And that's what I want to make sure that every kid does not have a door slammed in their face, and a kid thinks they can do anything. And as I went to these LA's best schools recently, this young Latina at one of my schools, she said to me, I said, she may be the first woman mayor, and her eyes got big, and then she said, but I wanted to be the first woman mayor. And I said, well, okay. I said, well, that's good. But the importance of it was that she thought she could do anything. And that's what I want to send the message. Whether you're female, male, Latino, African American, Armenian, that you can do anything in Los Angeles, and that the opportunities are here. And that's what I'm going to fight for, because I'm running, as hard as this is, to make a difference, not just to have the job. And that's what I learned from Tom Bradley, Cisneros, President Clinton, from Grace Montañez Davis, that we're in this life to do one thing, is to make a difference.
What makes a better conversation?
I think a couple of things. One, that I'm bringing the diversity of LA together, the kind of support. That I have the reputation of getting it done. That I have the experience. No disrespect, but I've run a family business I've been in the entertainment industry. I was responsible for the efforts that we did after the Northridge earthquake with HUD, but I've dealt with some really big issues, and I've been the city controller taking on tough issues. And the difference is I've got business and labor support. And people say, how does that happen? And a lot of the newspapers in town, including the one that you sit in here, don't seem to understand that you can be labor friendly and business friendly. And what they say to me is why they are endorsing me and why not Eric is because, Wendy, you tell us the same thing no matter where you are. You don't make promises you can't keep, and you don't try to be everything to everybody. We know who you are. We know who you are in your soul. And so it is about experience, and it is about the ability to actually get something done. And that is hard to say in a 30-second commercial or 60-second commercial. But I think experience matters. I think the validators that I have from the Latino community are great, and I think my history speaks volumes of job creation, of creating programs like LA's Best, of fighting for the rights of all throughout my entire career.